Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Till Death Do Us Pod with me, Tova Lee.
And me, Michael Lee.
Hey, this is early for us, isn't it? Like, wow.
Well, there's a reason why we're doing it.
There is.
For us very early.
Yes, there is. You literally had to wake me up.
Yeah.
Not even an hour ago.
Yeah. I do enjoy waking you up.
I know.
There's something about having to get up. I do like that. Get up. Look at the time.
Oh, horrible. Yes, but it is very exciting because we have a very, very special guest today on the podcast, and she's all the way in Australia.
Exactly. And further, and I know there's many, many of you there. And I think as we record this in the UK, Series 6, Married at First Sight Australia, I think tonight is episode 37. It's the final dinner party.
It's the final dinner party.
Yeah.
Oh, so, I can't wait.
That's kind of where we are. And I mean, whether our guests remember, because she did this about a couple of years ago. But we are joined by, to us, our favorite person in Married at First Sight Australia. Melissa Lucarelli joins us. How are you, Mel?
Hey, I'm really well, guys. Excited to be with you.
Lovely to have you. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Australia. Have you any idea how big the season you're in, how big it is in the UK? Because it's huge.
It really is. I'm obsessed with the UK. They they've given so much love.
Nice.
I cannot believe how gangbusters it's gone. Who says gangbusters? But it has gone. It's just blown up. And I love how much they are loving it. It's crazy. And I guess with you guys in lockdown as well, it's probably a nice escape, and it makes you kind of think my life isn't as bad, because you must think we are so crazy watching that.
Yes,
yes, we're like, yes, Australians are crazy.
Yeah.
Because you see, there was a Married at First Sight English version that Mike and I watched.
2 seasons, very serious.
So
2
serious.
couples, really, really slow, gentle.
It was like, it looked like a real genuine experiment. So when we started watching this,
told us about this. I've seen it. Was it like, by the way, no, this is crazy.
You have to watch the Australian version. And we were like, okay, we will, fine. And then it was like, first episode, oh my God,
another couple.
Yeah, so many couples.
Yeah.
Wait, but I know the listeners have so many questions, and actually we asked people to send some questions in. So we have to not get excited. We have to I want to go back to the absolute beginning, because obviously you were working at a talent agency. You're also a radio presenter. I really want to know what made you go on the show to begin with.
Yeah, well, look, I wasn't having much luck in the real world of dating. I had been single for almost a decade, as well as I had not seen a penis for pretty much that long as well. And things weren't looking good for me. And I am and was then and still am very ready for marriage, want the kids. So, the thought of having 3 experts kind of scour Australia looking for your perfect match. I mean, of course, I would give up anything for that. So, that's obviously why I did it.
So it was a genuine quest for love. That's what it was. That's what you're. So you guys, like, it sounds like you really relied on the experts. I'm guessing that the process before we even see the filming was quite long. Like, tell us more about that. What was that like?
So from memory, I think it was a few months from the initial kind of application, and the first I had a Skype audition, and then I had an in-person audition, there was about 4 producers and network people, and that was all recorded. And then you do 101 different kind of testings, from personality tests, brain quizzes, all things like that. And then the psychologist, you have a big kind of interview kind of meeting with her as well, and then you meet the experts.
I mean, you say some of those tests, some of the other contestants, how on earth did they pass some of those tests? Or did they fail so badly they went, yep, he's in, she's in, absolutely.
I think that's part of the experiment. You failed, you're in. Okay, excellent. We'll have people that failed and we'll match them up with. It is crazy. And I think though from those testings, they see kind of, your traits, what annoys you, what kind of, gets you rolled up, what makes you sad. And I think that they then take them and go, right, we'll put that person with that one because we know there'll be conflict. So they're making the drama already from the testing.
And for those, again, because this is the first season we dipped into.
Yeah.
In previous seasons that you watched, you saw people generally matched up, generally falling in love, going forward. So you'd seen shows and went, wow, they matched them up really well here. This looks amazing.
Well, you know what? Look, it is marriage. You are, getting married. And I believe the prior seasons were older people as well.
Right.
I think prior season had a lot of 20
right.
year
something,
There used to be an age limit that you had to be over to go in it prior to my season, and then they lowered that. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but what I mean is the first seasons there was only it started out maybe a few couples, and then the dinner party sort of scenario thing didn't come in, I think, till season 4. But even though they did have success in like the first season and I think the third or whatever, but looking at the matches they made, they were still good matches.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't work, they still found them somebody that I think, that was genuine matches. They were making genuine matches until my season. And then it's like, let's make the really ridiculous, ungenuine matches and let's start with me. Wicked, thanks guys.
Wait, but just following from there, so you went in completely open and looking for love, and also relying on what had previously happened on the show. And you're okay, and the process is long, so that's giving you encouragement.
Shouldn't say anything.
So I'll just jump in there. Yeah. So yes, that is absolutely 100%. I genuinely thought this was so genuine and this was going to be for me. And then I found out though, so we're talking about the process, and the process is going to be different for everybody, depending what stage they went in on it. But I remember, I think it started in about May, June, because I got called on the 31st of July and the wedding was mid-September. Okay. So I got called on the 31st of July saying, we found your match, you're in, this is so exciting. And they kept going, oh my gosh, we found you the best match. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. When Dino actually only got pulled into the experiment 10 days before the wedding.
Oh, wow.
And they had never actually met him. So he had just, this is how much they stitched me up. Okay.
Oh, my God.
There's a Skype casting call you do. That's the first one that you do with a casting producer in the office. And then in the casting team, and then you have to do the kind of in studio or meet the EPs and the network things and do your big interview and then meet the experts, and then also the science part of it. Like you have to wear this t-shirt and then you've got to sniff people's t-shirts, like pheromone testing or whatever. You know how to each
yes attach to your smell.
None of that. He didn't do any of that. So the producers hadn't met him, the experts, no one had met him in real life. He had just done one Skype call and he got 10 days before.
Wow.
So my thing is as well, what happened to my original?
Yeah.
What? I mean,
what's going
STD, or he could have had a criminal record.
Or he was 90, he was 96, he passed away. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's going
on? That would be more likely.
So tell us what's going through your head. The wedding day, it's the wedding day. You look gorgeous, by the way, and you're there, and you know you were waiting, weren't you? And then Dino comes in, and he's riding a horse, right? And literally falling off the horse. What is going through your head in that moment?
I think that day, so much was going on, obviously, that day. And I had been standing at the end of that aisle for a long time. I mean, they make it look like I was there for 2 seconds. Not true. I was there, for nearly a good hour, and no one would tell you what's going on either. So you're like, oh my gosh. And so I think when that was happening, and then, he came, like he trotted up, and then he came down the aisle, and I don't really think I was taking it all in at the time. Then he started, he was quite theatrical, to be honest. Yeah. And then he started his vows. You guys heard a couple of minutes of it, but they went for a long time. And they didn't make sense to me. They weren't vows. Does that make, like, they didn't? Yes.
Like,
rambling's romantic.
It was rambling, and you could tell on your face that you were a bit like, what? And the way they edited it, I have to say, like, listen, their editing is so good, right? So the way they edited it was like romantic music, and he's starting like this really kind of over the top, and then it sort of like goes to your face, and the music stops, and you're like, your face basically was what we were all feeling, you know?
Oh my God, I could never play poker. Do you know? Seriously, with just my facial expressions, like about anything, like even when we were at the commitment ceremonies and I'm reacting to things, it would always go on my face because I'm so expressive. I can't hide what I'm feeling, can I? I'm like, what? Like, so there was that. And then it just continued from there. So there was no kind of just general everyday conversation because he doesn't do it was very, just telling me about his spiritual dreams and talking about souls in different lifetimes. And at that point, I was like, this is a massive stitch up, like, because there is, like, what have we got in common? And then he actually played, and I say played loosely, the didgeridoo at the wedding. Again, not really a wedding kind of thing to do. He couldn't actually play it either, but it was just, what is happening?
Yeah.
So even at this stage, it's the first day, everything you'd asked for in a potential partner through the process, they basically gave you the exact opposites. So you must have realized at this stage, okay, it's a TV show, it's a reality show. Now I kind of get, but that must be complete put off now.
Yeah.
How you go
forward. For how someone you now who go genuinely wanted love.
Because you know it's a stitch up.
Yeah.
Well, this was the thing. I was like hoping, because he came across that it felt like he was performing, and he was, I guess he was using as like an audience. And I thought maybe after the wedding, when he calms down and he's not kind of performing, he might this could just be an act that he's doing. But that wasn't the case, which, and it was, it was really upsetting. I think after the first dinner party, when we actually met the other people's partners, where we met everyone, and after that, I remember I was really upset because I was like, it really had been stitched up, and we both were like, we feel like we're the joke couple.
Right.
So we're the joke of the experiment. We have, nothing in common, like our values, nothing aligned, our interests, not even, from physically, mentally, everything, nothing. And so it was us having to even try and find common ground, which, I mean, that's, and for an experiment like that as well, it was, So,
and you really tried. It came across like you genuinely were trying.
You give up so much to go in there. And I
Yeah.
remember going, you know what, there could be this wacky, insane
Yes.
reason why we're meant to be together,
Yeah.
this is why I'm here. And I'm, using kind of their experience, maybe it will work. And so that's why I remember really trying. And then it was like, no, if they really just did it for entertainment.
Well, you
reasons.
mentioned.
Wait, let's hold.
Yeah,
let's-
if we're together. You mentioned there the first dinner party and meeting the other couples.
Yeah.
We're going to go now to a very quick break, and when we come back, we're going to ask you about what some of those other people like who are on the same process. Back after this break. And we're back for the break.
I
There we
just
are.
want to jump in here before you take over for a
No,
minute
that was
and
it.
just
Go on.
say, talking about the other characters in the dinner parties, for me, it came across as like there were a lot of big characters in one room, a lot. And I know obviously you're a big character as well, but did you find it difficult sometimes, like, to navigate in there? And was it a matter of whoever was bigger got more screen time? Like, were people playing that big role on purpose, do you think? Or I don't know, like, how was it to navigate in that, basically?
Yeah, well, like you said, I am myself a big character, have a loud voice. There was no problem with me being heard.
And a great laugh. And a great laugh.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's really funny when you watch the dinner party back, and even when the cameras are on somebody else's conversation, you can still hear me in the background. I laugh. Like they would have tried to turn it down, but it's obviously caught their mics every time. We all laugh at it. Anyway, look, it and here's the thing. I think that there was the girls this season, especially the characters, like the personalities, were very big. So the women, all amazing women, but very strong and opinionated and loud compared to the guys, especially. Mm-hmm. And I think that, and not knowing it at the time, because I've never done reality television before, and I feel stupid that I went in there for genuine reasons and that I really was
believed in the process.
Yeah, and so I feel stupid now. But yes, obviously, if you were causing drama or if you were, doing naughty things, you were going to get more airtime or camera time. But and so which you would see that a lot of the couples didn't, get much screen time because it was all focused on, the drama and the affairs and everything. But, obviously at the time, I wouldn't have known that. I mean, the others may have, known that that's what they were doing. But yeah, I think that the thing is, we're actually not really meant to talk to any of the other couples, except for when we're on mic at the dinner parties or the commitment ceremonies. So that time so you're not really when you were saying about competing with the other people, it's really only that sort of time we get to be together. And for me, oh my God, that was like the best part of the week. I would moonwalk in there because I would get to see everyone and be with everyone. And so I think that's where we all flourished as well, because you were leaning on each other and going from everyone else's experiences, and because it is a crazy thing,
and hanging out with the girls as well. But I want to take you back a minute to what you just said previously with regards to the girls, because for us it was very clear that it was a really strange the girls were all these really big characters, right, really, really loud, and the men were sort of like these kind of a bit and I don't know, for me that was something quite hard to get over at the beginning of the season. I felt that the women were portrayed really badly. I felt like it was all a bit like, oh, crazy women and poor little men, they're mental and all of that. Yeah. And I found that really difficult.
And just adding to that, even in the process with the experts.
Yes.
Excuse me.
On the sofa.
It was Michael, and who's Michael with Heidi?
Yes. Heidi.
I mean, the way
I know.
everything was her fault. You know, he was not very nice, very, very arrogant.
Yeah.
Could never admit he made an error. And yet all the experts, including the women experts, were like, Heidi, do you think you're overreacting?
Yeah.
I think you need to look at the way you're reacting. It's like, what? He's a dick. What do you want about?
You know, it's so funny that you say all that, because absolutely they really, and I'd see comments all the time saying, oh my God, the women in this season are crazy. No wonder they're single, the poor guys, because they really played off, you know, having them as the, you know, the poor boys and us as with me and Dino, even, because Dino speaks like this. And I like, and because he just whispers and he has like a little face on all the time. And so when I speak normally, and it looks like I'm just yelling at him all the time, but I'm just speaking normally, and they all look like the victim, and we're just these crazy, loud, over the top kind of girls, and it didn't look good for us. And when you're talking about with the experts, we're actually, all of us sit on that couch for about 40 minutes. You only see like a couple of minutes, but even I felt that they always directed the questions or the problems at the females to answer. Even so, you know, when you say you had noticed it with Heidi and Mike, like for myself, even so, Dino could just sit there and go, everything's been great, and then that was fine, okay, and then it was
thank you, next couple.
Why have you been doing this? But why are you doing this? And then, you know, next minute I'm like, you know, nobody loves me on the couch, because they break you down because they're blaming everything on you, and like, are you open to that? Why don't you try this? Well, how's about, like, could you just maybe give them some advice or direct a question at them? It feel like it was all, you know, the females kind of fault and role, and everything was directed at us to answer.
Did you feel that, you know, again, going back to this, for me, you know, like any TV show, but I think it's probably also right about reality, they almost like they cast roles, even though you don't know that when you go in, obviously, because you're just you and you're being you, but in a way they're casting a role. So did you feel like you had a role? Like, what was your role?
Oh, great. Yeah. So my role, which obviously I didn't realize at the time. So I was like, obviously the funny, relatable girl, which obviously meant I had to look like shit all the time. And they felt the need to always show me eating or getting pissed. But when it was eating about 80% of the time, and not just nice eating, like cannibal eating, like that, like I literally looked like I had not seen food for so long, and just the moment where I was like, and open mouth, it was horrific. And even
so funny
looks that they would get me at, like, are you serious? It was awful. Like, I'm literally, and people don't understand it. I'm literally drinking, I'm getting smashed, eating, and making sure they made me just look terrible, because that's obviously what funny related people do, like, I guess.
Well, you definitely were our favorite, so you know.
Well, you know, thank you, because, you know, I think the others, there is a thing about being camera aware.
Yes.
I was very camera unaware, to the point that I was ugly crying, that I would do these extreme, like, faces and things that you do that you don't even do in front of people because it's just so ugly, and I'd do it in front of the camera. Like, be a little camera aware, Mel, a little camera. But no, I wasn't.
Let's ask about your kind of big moment in the middle of the season, which obviously was the big bust up where you found that your husband, as it were, was secretly recording a conversation you were having with a catch up with your sister. How did that play out? What didn't we see? Maybe what happened from your perspective?
Oh, look, there was so much to that you guys did not see. And the worst part of it was they felt the need to just play the parts of me yelling, and that's it. And so it really looked, what actually happened and what you saw was totally different. I think, you know, the main reason that I was so upset and was that I actually had no idea about the recording until 3 days later when I caught him trying to record me again,
Oh, wow.
which
Oh.
is, and which is because he had sent that to other people, he then had to admit to the recording me on the phone to my sister because he thought I would find out. So, you know, my reactions may have seemed out of proportion to some people, but it was that, you know, he was literally saying that he had come to me and admitted about this recording. No, it was because I had caught him, and it was really creepy. It didn't kind of make sense. And when I was at the dinner table, people are like, why would you bring that up at the dinner table? Can I just say, like, everything gets brought up at these dinner parties, but it was because in the cocktail party, he had brought it up. Right. It was probably the first time anyone had heard him speak because he got gathered a group of people. And because he knew that he was in the wrong for what he had done, he was trying to, you know, kind of just go, oh, Melissa said this about me, and Melissa said this, and try and diminish, oh, but I've been like secretly recording her and this is a bit creepy. But and that reason I was getting so angry at the table wasn't because I was caught out, because I didn't even say, it wasn't even anything bad. It was because when someone's lying, that's why I was getting so angry. If I was caught out saying something bad about someone, my reaction would be, I would be more sheepish and embarrassed, not yelling. So yeah, that's why. And they just cut me together, so it actually looked like my head was going to come off my neck and just spin around and come back, and there was this vein in my forehead I didn't know I had, and it was just none of it made sense. And it really left a horrible end to that whole experiment. And I was very upset about it. What's actually even funny is people haven't even really listened to his reasoning. He actually said, oh, the reason I recorded it was because when we have conversations or arguments, which I'd like to know when these were, but that I would deny things he says, not the other way around. So people have gone, oh, well, apparently that I, you know, deny saying things. That's not what he said. He said that I deny things he says.
Right. So how's he gonna get that? How's he gonna get that from recording you and your sister? You record a conversation? You're not even record yourself. This is why.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was like, this is why I was going so crazy. He does not make sense.
I didn't realize that.
Like, you're not even in the conversation. So what's that? What do you mean? Oh, so yeah.
I just want to go back to something else, and that, you know, I was wondering about, and that's probably like how your family and friends reacted to you wanting to go on the show. So obviously in the show, the way it's the story's told is that family friends don't know. And basically the participants come and there's like a family, you know, a crew of photographers walk into like your mom's house and just film. And then you drop the news. Is that it real life? Is that how it happens? Or do they know in advance? And what was their reaction to it?
Yeah, correct. Yes, you're not allowed to tell anyone. And that's really hard because and they make it so as well, you know, your chances, you know, if anyone finds out you're in it, like, you know, you can't have that. It's really hard because it's a big life kind of thing going into it that you have to change. But yes, I obviously didn't tell them, and I used to watch it going, man, like that's so set up, as if they're not going to clue on when, like, a whole herd of cameras come in to your lunch. Oh yeah, just casually, hey. So I don't know what everyone else did, but I made up a story. So I told my friends for it because I live in Sydney, but I'm originally from Perth, which is the other side of Australia. So that's where my family are. So I did the reveal in person with my friends. I told them that it was for a work award I was getting, and that they were
Oh.
wanting to film a profile of me. And
Nice.
so they
Good
needed,
one.
they'd filmed me, you know, at work for the profile, like, but they wanted my, yay, like, you know, just having
Family.
fun with friends. So, and so that's what they thought they were getting filmed for. And then I told them, they were like, and then I remember I Skyped my family.
Right.
My dad was, I don't think he understood it at all, what it was. He didn't care. All he heard was, I'm getting married and I'm not going to be single. And he was just like, yep, I'm in, whatever. Like,
Well, that's a refreshing change. That's a refreshing change
from all the other family members this season. Yeah.
This was another thing that we could not get over, those early episodes with all the really overprotective fathers and brothers.
I mean, there were many. I mean, they were like criminals. I mean, these are people that allegedly probably killed people.
Yeah.
I mean, how scary were they?
I know. I mean, like with Jess's, I know, because they were going to have a punch on. I thought.
Cyril's brother, Ivan. Wow.
Oh yeah, Ivan, of course. Cyril's brother, yeah, of course. I know. Well, I do think they should make a
Spin-off
show about spin off with just all the family members. And meanwhile, my dad's just like, get down there. Like he's just sitting there like, boom, boom. You know,
That's so funny. So we asked our followers to send in some kind of true or false questions. So it's like a quick round of true or false. Some of the things we touched on, but okay. The number one question that obviously I'm sure you get asked is it scripted? How much of it is scripted?
Well, I mean, look, as far as I know, it isn't. Like, as in, I didn't go in there as an actor. I didn't get a script. If it was scripted, I would have absolutely asked for a better role. So that's all I'll say about that. But I think that people, because of the crazy things that happen, I mean, it's fair enough. You would think that's got to be scripted, but it's the situation that you're put in. So, you know, we've all just married people we don't know. We're all like living together, and the environment that you are in is very controlled. It's very the producers, their job is to create stories and to create drama and to cause, you know, and it easily happens with the kind of environment we're put in and the strict rules and the way it all works. I mean, you know, the dinner parties, even, you can be there from, you know, because you can be filming from anywhere between kind of 10 to 16 hours a day, but you know, you start getting ready for the dinner parties at 10 a.m. and they can not finish till 3 or 4 in the morning, and you're separated and, you know, and so you can't speak to.
And I think they probably how do you say, provide the grant, like they give you the ability to explore certain storylines. So for example, at the beginning of the season, couples had to be together even if they weren't getting along, and then suddenly when the cheating kind of started, people were allowed to have their own apartments, and that seemed very convenient.
You know? So they were enabling the bad behavior, and they were making sure that is the storyline that happened. Absolutely. Is it? And, you know, they've already created stories and drama with the matches they've made. I mean, hello, like putting people that quite clearly are going to have conflict already, or then, you know, it's not going to get along. And then, and even at the dinner parties, they place you to see. Like we don't
where you say, we were saying this. So we were saying this. You see like people talking before they go into the actual table, and like you see who's like in conflict, and then they walk into the room and they're sitting next to each other. And I was like, it's basically the producers behind the door running and changing the name. You know,
it's all set up like that, so they make sure that the people with the conflict, and so it will start, are sitting next to each other and across from each other. Yes, it's all. Oh, very, very convenient, isn't it? Yeah, so that's how it all happens. And at the dinner parties, that's something else people always ask. How could you not know that they're not at the table? You know, so say we're innocent.
Yes.
We're in the other room, and like, oh, how could people not notice? Okay, so again, it's a very, you're not allowed to just get up and go to the toilet. You're not allowed to move from that table unless you are taken. So, and if you wanted to go to the bathroom, it's like in this big warehouse and it's quite a journey, and you have to be taken by runners, production people. And so you only get taken at certain times, or they can pull people out for interviews and stuff. So that's where you just assume everyone is. You can't just stand up and walk around or walk out. That's why nobody would ever catch anyone, because you can't
they would
just
take
leave the
one
table.
and then the other. They wouldn't take them together.
Well, yeah. So say one, like they're going to the toilet, and then it would just look like someone was getting pulled out to do a voxy, or
So when Dan is sneaking out, and meeting what's the name for a drink, and you're thinking, but your wife, his husband, is they're there. What are you doing?
They wouldn't realize.
They're literally brought out. No, you can now go out and have a quiet chat. Basically.
Yes, and so that's exactly why nobody catches them either, because we're not allowed to leave the table. And so you just assume that they're either at the toilet or doing interviews, or things like that. Yeah,
that makes sense. Another thing I want to ask as well is, it's a reality show. Now I'm assuming, like most reality shows, the contestants, there's no fees. I'm assuming you get expenses. And what happens then? There's obviously a situation with Mick, who wanted to leave. Everyone knew his wife was hanging about to sort of hook up with Dan. I think he ran a farm. He had some businesses.
Yeah.
He's desperate to get away. I keep saying, we'll leave. This is not working anymore. How can you get out of a contract? Yeah. And how did you survive during the process financially?
Financially, I think people have this misconception that we make a lot of money, or that we make money off this show. No, it's for love, guys. And it's upsetting. I actually lost money from it. So you you get paid $150 a day, which I think is £85 because but I don't even know, but I'm still going with that. That's not even a pay. It's called out-of-pocket expenses. So that has to, because I have an apartment, my rent and stuff while you're in there. So that's kind of paying your living costs back home, but also while you're there. So you have to buy your own food, and the clothes are our own, the everything, we don't have hair or makeup or anything like that. All the expenses, it's you still have to pay for living there plus living back home. And it's nothing.
Wow. And the other thing you asked was when Mick really wanted to leave.
Oh, yes.
Could you not just go, I've had enough, I want to leave.
Such a contract, I'm out of here.
Well, I believe that he, wanted to. I believe that he went and said, no, I want to leave. But, our contracts does say that, it stipulates that with the kind of process, the experiment, unless, you both say leave, or, if one person says stay, you have to stay. So I don't, you'd probably have to ask Mick more about that, because I do believe he did want to, but due to the contract he couldn't.
Right. Wow.
So I'm not really sure, but I think there was a hashtag free Mick when that happened in Australia.
Wow.
But why don't they? The other thing I wanted to know, when Dan, I can't remember the girl who was with Jess, Dan and Jess hooked up, and there was the one before, why aren't they secretly saying to each other, go for leave, because we both leave, we can now meet up in the outside world? Why are they hanging on to remain in the process when they could both leave and then see if it works in the outside world? That's what I never quite understood.
I would say because then they're not on TV. Probably because they live in different states.
Right, I see.
And because of course, I feel like Cam and Jules were the only ones that lived in the same state. I think they lived 10 minutes apart.
Wow.
Whereas all of us, they match us living in different states.
I actually asked the same questions about Jewel and Cam, because I was a bit like, you know, clearly their relationship was like, you know, amazing, and it's gonna, you know, and it lasted and all of that. And I was a bit, like I said, at some point you could tell they were really not enjoying the experiment anymore, and they just wanted to get on with their lives. So I said to Mike, why didn't they just leave?
Yeah.
I would have just left.
They live like 10 minutes
Just
apart.
leave
They so
and start
genuinely
your life
matched, and
together.
they were like, yeah, exactly. And that there was, there's a different reason, that because you know, you guys, you didn't need the
Yeah, you
expert
didn't
help.
need it
You
anymore.
were genuinely matched. They found you
Leave.
10 minutes apart. I like, you know, yeah.
I know. I couldn't
Exactly.
I didn't understand that. Sorry. Okay, we'll go back to these questions that people
Sorry,
sent
we
in.
went off a tangent
One of them being, the weddings are not legal. Aren't legal. They're not legally binding. Is that true? That is true. Okay, so it's like TV wedding.
Okay.
But you guys
TV
took it seriously. You took it seriously.
Absolutely.
And then you've got couples.
I probably would have jumped and ridden back off that horse if it was going to be real.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. I would have gone,
Yeah.
you know, what did
I
you?
know. Couples have to call cameras when they argue.
Yes. Well, I'd call cameras, as in call the producers,
Yes.
yes, or just stop the argument and restart it the next day when the cameras are there, which makes no sense, really. Stop the argument.
Oh, God.
You need to call someone, yes. But,
Wow.
I mean, that never really kind of
But they
happened.
really didn't want you
They
to
don't
have.
say that.
They didn't want you to have these conversations alone. Like I heard that there were hall monitors, and that you really like.
Well, the reason is, and it, because if arguments happen off screen, and then when you see people, when you know the viewers are watching it, and there's disputes going or people aren't talking, you guys have no idea. Like, it doesn't make sense. If that makes sense, why? If you're not seeing it,
Yeah.
So that's why we're not as well allowed to really talk to each other unless we're on mic and on camera. Because if antics are happening behind the scenes, right? And then when you see us one day and we're all like, no, with each other, and then the next day people are hating each other and for not, and you like, and it doesn't make any sense because. And they're saying this person was sleeping, there was this person, they had this fight about, you know, the remote control, and I don't know, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's why they try to keep it all on camera so it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. Guys?
Totally.
Yeah. We were really monitored. So we had like hall monitors, I call them all monitors. But yeah, so that they would kind of live on the same floor as us in the apartment, and you know, they would sweep our rooms for people because we would all obviously come and visit each other and have wines and be naughty, and and we'd have to check in and check out because our curfew was like 9 p.m.
Right.
from memory, and so if we weren't filming, we had to be in our apartments with our partner.
Sorry, one other people wants to know, the contestants' homes that you see, some of them weren't their homes, they're just Airbnb apartments rented by production. Is that true?
Yes, some are, some aren't. Just for the reason that some people's houses, you know, weren't fit for filming, or maybe they had roommates or
children even, right?
Children, families. So yes, some people's houses were their houses, but other people's, yes, they had to get an Airbnb.
It always makes me laugh, and not regarding the house, because that's an obvious. We sometimes saw the flats and we're like, "That's too tidy to be."
No one lives in a house like
that. But going back to just the role of the production and the experts, we're now up to date with our viewing. So, like the UK's episode 37, the last thing that we saw. I'm going to put a disclaimer, by the way, on this episode to say lots of spoilers. Don't listen to this episode if you're not caught up. But when Jess and Dan were allowed to stay in the experiment, and the expert just went on and on and on about what the
this is highly unusual.
We don't want to get involved in the experiment. We just need to be observers. And we were like, no, you don't. Just be honest and say it's great for ratings and shut up. Like, it was just, I mean, it was just like insulting, you know, like, listen, we're all in this together. It's our guilty pleasure, just like it is yours. So stop messing about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, the whole process, I mean, that is kind of mocking what the experiment or the process is, really.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
getting them then kind of, and re-enter it together.
It was
Because
shocking.
that's not the experiment. What experiment are you running at the moment? This is a completely different one. So but obviously, it was something different, made good ratings. So
Exactly.
but you've got a week left. So
tonight's the second dinner,
So
the
that's
last dinner party.
I think we've got 3 episodes left.
Yeah.
And then, well, the reunion though, it's 2 episodes, and that's a dinner party as well. But that's got everyone comes back for.
Wow.
Great.
Great.
And how long were you away then? When you came, sorry, when you come back for the reunion, how long had you been back in your normal life and then have to come back? What was the sort of gap?
So it started filming mid-September. I was I was one of the first weddings, and then because then some people's weddings were the next week, so we kind of had an extra week with our partner.
Yeah.
But that's why as well, some of the trips you'll notice, like we went overseas, sort of Fiji, and some people just stayed in Australia. It's because of the time, like we had like a whole week and a bit, whereas they only had a few days. But so then I left halfway through the process, and people that stayed to the end, to the final kind of vows, when they do their final vows, that was at the start of December. So the reunion is filmed end of January, just as it's kind of going to air. So everyone's had like kind of roughly 6 weeks, give or take, depending when you left the experiment. Okay. Yeah.
I just want to ask one last question. We'll let you go, but I want to know, how has your life changed since? I mean, obviously it was 2 years ago, and you know, I follow you now on Instagram, and and I'm guessing like has it changed your life? Like, and if it has, then how?
I mean, I'm still single. That's obviously not the change that I was looking for going into it. But obviously, it's changed it in the sense of people. I love it because I'm such a people person, so I love it. But people, just all the people I've met and all the people, they just know you, if that makes sense. Like, I just, you know, it's so funny. It's just, I mean, I love it. I think it's hilarious. But I think gosh, I'm trying to think.
Have you gone back to your previous job? Did you go back to your previous job?
No, I didn't, because it's hard to, as well, when you do this as well as the filming and stuff. You've also, when it airs, and you've got to be available to do all kind of the extra filming, the publicity and all of that sort of stuff. And then you just living your best life for a while, like, woo, you know, partying and having some fun. Then COVID happened. But I also was wanting, well, my kind of career and job before that was in the media, sort of. So I wanted to go back to that. I think I will. I just have kind of just gone with the flow of things, like opportunities and things have just come up that you didn't expect, but it's been amazing and so fun. So I've just been rolling with it, and who knows? This year, I would like to do something crazy, but
you should come to the you should come to your
full-time job.
You should come to the UK. You've got such a massive fan base here.
Oh my god, I want honestly, if the borders, as soon as those borders are open, I'm on a plane, I'm in the UK. I just want to come to the UK.
Like, you know what we noticed, because obviously we went online, we're like really sad, and we went and looked at everybody's Instagram, and I was quite shocked. So quite a few of the contestants really changed. Like they're unrecognizable. Facially. Like you'd see them and you would never know. I mean, right?
Like, I mean, some had some work done.
Just
Some
completely
had, like,
different
taken,
appearance. They look totally
yeah,
different.
Yeah, I know.
And not just the girls, by the way, some of the men as well. But we would not recognize anywhere. We would recognize.
Oh,
you.
that's like,
You
what? Because I'm
stayed.
funny, relatable.
No,
eating,
no.
Like, there's
Gorgeous.
no
You
camera
stayed-
awareness.
No. There's a few people who have stayed kind of as
True to
they were,
themselves.
true to themselves, and maybe.
Which guys do you think that have changed their looks?
No, just physically.
Well, I mean, Ning, because Ning, the
What?
makeup, I didn't recognize Ning on
Susie.
Instagram. I didn't recognize
Susie.
Ning. Susie.
Elizabeth.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I mean. Yeah.
We'd never recognized. I mean,
that-
I was like going through her Instagram and going, "It's not her. It's a friend." I don't know. And then eventually showed it to Mike. Mike was like, "No, it's not." And I was like, "Yes, look." It's just really weird.
Very
Yes,
strange.
I know, and I think as well. I mean, I just want to have all the surgeries as well. Like, honestly, we'll chat again, and then you'll be like,
Useless. Yeah.
So I'm just letting you know, giving you forewarning. I am going to be getting all the surgeries, and then I'm coming to the UK.
And no one will recognize you.
No one will recognize you.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. I won't have them. I'll come to the UK and do that.
Come before.
I'll come before.
Well,
Lovely.
this was
Thank you so much.
amazing.
That was great.
You'll see me again at the reunion, which
Yes.
is exciting.
We can't
So
wait.
that's good because I'm like, I've missed seeing everyone, but I don't see everyone when I'm on the screen. What a weirdo. But yes, I'm so excited that the UK have loved it. It's kind of sad that it's ending
Yes.
over there.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll get my life
Yeah.
back though.
Yeah, but we'll get our lives back. Let's face it. We're not getting into season 7. No way. And I know it's airing soon in the US. And we're sorry if we. Oh, has it?
Oh, right.
Yeah. Okay.
Started, yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
I think they're only screening it one day a week.
Ah.
Right.
Oh God.
So
painful. Yeah.
they'll still be going in 2023.
I know. My God.
But, I believe that your Married at First Sight in the UK is casting for the season, and they're going to base it off the Australian one.
Ah,
Like,
okay.
wow.
It's gonna be
and
the
all of
same
that.
sort of like-
Oh wow.
The same
So I
format.
guess I'll see you for that then.
Yeah, you'll see how crazy the Brits are.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think they can compare to the Australians.
Oh,
If I'm being
yeah, I
honest.
don't
No.
Yeah.
Have you been to some places up north? I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, that's funny.
Maybe.
Oh, dear.
Well, thank you
Lovely,
so
Mel, thank
much,
you so
Mel.
much.
We loved having you on the show. If people want to find you on Instagram, where should they go?
I hate my Instagram handle. It's my name. It's Mel Lucarelli. So it's Mel and Lucarelli. So it's
Yeah.
MELLUCARELLI.
Lovely.
I just felt like I needed to spell it. So Mel Lucarelli. Yeah. Come
Amazing.
find me. Come follow me. Love it.
Yay. Well, thank you so much. And for everybody listening, we hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
Leave us a review and please don't forget to subscribe. And we will see you all
See you
next
next
week.
week.
Bye.